Hey, everybody, welcome back to Death by Vanilla, a show where two out of touch white men try to navigate a conversation without stepping on a landmine of cringe. I'm your host, Timothy Schreiber.
And I'm your host, Caleb Schreiber. And on this episode today, we're going to be talking about what it's like growing up with an audience on YouTube, making content, thinking about content all the time. Tim, in your history of living, which isn't very long,
15
how old
years.
are you? 15 years.
Yep.
I, being 24, I'm 24 now. You were born in the year what?
2006. Oh, 2005.
Okay.
Sorry. It's 2005. That's the one.
2005. I was born in the year 1997.
Don't you feel old?
Extremely.
You sound like you went on the Mayflower and conquered America. That's how
So
old you
much so
sound.
that I sat down in this chair and made grunting noises. That's expert level of how you tell if you're old or not is by how you sit down. So I make noises when I sit and do other things. So that is because I was born with a 19 in front of my number.
Yep. Now you sound ancient.
Thanks. Yeah. So I grew up with like a humongous like tube television, but then also like in my teenage years I got into the YouTube.
Me and Daniel had a tube television, our other brother had a tube television, like a giant TV that we would just play, oh my goodness.
GameCube.
No. What's it called? Oh my goodness. How am I forgetting? Not DVD, not CD, not any.
VCR.
What?
VCR.
DSR. Yeah, VCR. That's the one. VCR. The really thick things, right? That were
Yeah,
just,
they're
they looked like giant cassettes, right? That's what we grew up on until like 2010-ish when we finally got our own computers and we started watching like PBS Kids. But until then, we were watching just like going through VCRs in our basement, and that's all we did. So
VCR.
I said
it's
VCR.
it's three letters.
I said
You-
VCR.
It sounds like you saying VSCR.
No, I said VCR.
Okay, yeah. You're super cool.
But after that though, we used like, me and Daniel were so into the YouTube thing and making videos. Like me and Daniel had this like cassette tape recorder that we would take empty cassette tapes, sorry, that we got at like this garage sale, and we would just record us playing a game. So that we used to play like Pop Tropica. And then we used to like start off an intro like we were actually making videos and posting them somewhere. And I remember we used to stress so hard. Like we used to get mad at each other if we like messed up the tape or something. And we'd be like, oh, now we have to go back. And I'm thinking now, I'm like, we didn't post those anywhere. I would kill to have those though. Kill to hear those again.
I was going back through YouTube. Actually, the entire idea for the episode, I was going back through and trying to find your old videos. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah, I deleted most of them.
Here's fun little thing.
I had a separate channel.
I think I have them downloaded somewhere on my computer.
Well, I
So you're welcome.
have a separate channel, which is my oldest channel. So
And those are like old videos.
old videos, yeah. Yeah, that's
And you
like,
haven't deleted those, correct?
No, I have not. No.
Sometime we're gonna have to review those on the podcast. We'll actually have to. But so how did you get into recording YouTube stuff? Like, what thought at some point in time, or what content creator made you think, oh, I need to get in front of a camera right now?
Well, me and Dylan have always like loved games, and we loved playing games, and we thought it was such a cool idea that people could make a living off of YouTube and like doing just playing games. And I think that was either a guy named Corey Kenshin or like Sunday or something like that. Some Minecraft YouTubers, like they got us. Like, we really, really, really wanted to make YouTube videos. And of course, you tried your hand at YouTube videos, like too. Like for you weren't as young because YouTube, like you came out before YouTube came out. So, so like you were 13, something like that, right? Whenever your videos were coming out. So yours were a little bit better than ours.
I was like 12, 13. I was using my phone to record magic videos. I was really into magic whenever I was younger. Still kind of am, just as like a hobby on the side. I mean, it's just more in the closet. But most of my YouTube videos were either me doing magic tricks from other people or they were like tutorials for my own magic tricks that nobody cared about. I actually got like quite a following on there.
Really?
And some of my videos got some decent coverage. There's one in particular where I figured out how a guy did a trick, and this guy was a very popular YouTuber, and I posted me doing the same exact thing. Now, neither of us are going to disclose our old channels because of how cringy our content
they were
was.
horrible. Maybe one day. Though.
But what are you going to do whenever you're a 13-year-old who's in front of a camera? Like, I mean,
well, I mean, you go ahead.
That's just what we get. I mean, for putting ourselves out there that early, like, you are subject to not only criticism, but like ultimately it was just so, I don't know, it pushed me creatively, I think. Did it push you creatively?
Oh yeah. I think honestly, there's like, because we started at the base. We started like filming on cassettes and like just recording our audio, and then we went to, I got really into like I'm now into like cameras and audio equipment and stuff like that because of stuff like YouTube or Twitch. And and then we went, whenever we were younger, we had this like dinky little webcam that we bought from a thrift store, and it was like $5. It was horrible, but that was huge for us. We used to make videos, and we didn't know how to capture a game, but we had a webcam, so we captured our faces playing the game. So we went from audio of us playing the game to video and audio of us playing the game. And then that's when we found out about Screencast-O-Matic. And then that's when...
Which you used for school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the funny part.
Here's something that I think... I'm sorry, I'm taking down my phone. Here's something that I think was very funny and very unique for our position, was that we were cyber schooled. So a lot of our time throughout every given day was on the internet.
Oh yeah.
And most of our, like, the medium that we did school was via webcam and audio and video and everything. So like, I remember just a little bit ago, I mean, obviously back in 2020, I was in school for like college stuff, and we had to do a classroom online. And I was like, oh, this is familiar because this is what I've done my whole life, which is like giving presentations on video and audio format online. And we just grew up that way. That's how we got our education.
Yeah. And
so then
go ahead. No, you were finishing.
Yeah. So last year, like, I show up, I know what I'm doing because I have a nice camera. I know how to set up a microphone. And like, everybody was like calling me out on it. Like on they were just like, Caleb, why do you look like a streamer right now? And I was like, because I've done this my whole life. Yeah. So, I mean, that had a huge part to play. Well, most kids probably wouldn't have that. Like, most kids wouldn't have all of that information. Like, growing, like, you were like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you were being introduced to how to use a camera and your audio, and taught that by a public school so that you can get your education. And without that, you wouldn't have your education.
You mean a cyber school?
Yeah.
Yes, you said public school. But yeah, like, I'm so glad, honestly. That's one of the biggest pluses, like, that we were grown up on cyber school and homeschool, because without that, I wouldn't have known anything about computers. Like I see a lot of public school kids that are on their phones, but we were surrounded by computers our whole life and all this equipment, and so we just got to play around with it, and we understand it more now because of that. We can type faster, we can set up like nice looking videos, set up nice looking presentations, all because of that. And that started because we tried something like YouTube, because like YouTube, like, slowly over the years, it's so funny to see my videos, because I'll like look at them and I'll see, I kind of like was like, oh, this is so hard. I was like, all this effort for nothing. Because I remember whenever I first got into editing, holy cow, was I amazed, because I used to just pause the video and then restart the video when I wanted to cut it. But I actually had some pretty interesting videos back then. I deleted most of them, but I haven't privated. But like I'll like look back at them and I'm like, wow. I was like, I could probably make so much better than that. But again, it's a lot of effort. And so what I did instead was a while ago, I went over to Twitch and I just started streaming games. But even then, I really haven't done much with it since.
So because of that, what do you think any of this has led up to? So like your childhood being baked in high quality content and being like pretty much being on all of the time and learning all of this stuff, is it useful at all now?
Oh
And
yeah.
for what purpose?
Yeah. I mean, so we're definitely living in a digital world, and that's gonna keep progressing, and we're gonna have a head start because of that. We're gonna have a head start, like as some people might just be learning about computers, might be just learning about laptops. We're already miles ahead. Like we know like several different things, and technology keeps progressing. Like that's one thing about our generation is new technology keeps coming out, and we're gonna be up to date on it. Like, and even if we want to do little passion projects, like you want to make like a production company, like you can do that. You got that passion because we started like that.
Yeah.
And so like it's gonna be really useful, I think, in the future.
Yeah. Like, yeah, like you said, for me specifically, I'm starting a video production company making training videos for small churches and stuff. And a lot of that has come from all of this. And like I didn't even realize that until we're starting to have this conversation, until like this moment. I did not realize that like Cyber Skull kind of did that to me. Like I always thought it was because I was so captured by YouTubers and like vloggers, and like I've always watched vloggers and YouTubers and spent hours of my days on YouTube. It's unhealthy, but it has gotten me to that point. So it's going to be useful for me. And you brought up a point of like, since technology is always going to be changing and we're always going to be at the precipice kind of that, because we've always had to be,
Yeah.
as far as technology goes. You said that, well, like, so what's the versatility of like if you were to keep all of your information about technology from right now at this point, I think personally you would be good for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah. Well, yes and no, because like because like I talked to my grandma about this. Like I had to do an interview for school with her about this, but she was like, I admire your generation because like back then, like you guys have such a fast pace living. Like whenever we got hit with technology, it was in slow waves and it was years apart. But you see us with stuff like the Tesla, like all this like electronic stuff and like new adapters, the fact that you can basically have a phone on your wrist, and all this new stuff. And like, so we know the basics now, but the thing with technology is a lot of it changes. So if you don't stay up to date on that, then you're going to miss out on something and something's going to be missing and you're not, because it all works together. You know, it's like you have to know what goes, the ins and outs of it.
So this is something else I wanted to talk about is like I don't think that the web space is going to change too much. I think from here on out, the changes that are going to happen are going to be all hardware, like how to bring the digital space that we've already created into your physical life.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so have you watched the Bo Burnham special Inside?
A little bit. Yeah. Little tidbits.
Okay. Yeah, so like his main premise behind the whole entire thing is that living in front of a camera is like it's how most people live their lives now. It's almost as if the online digital space is what life is now, and that the real world is where you go to recharge to go back into the web space. And I mean it's daunting and it's like deep and philosophical and terrifying and all of that, the fun things that Bo Burnham has always been to us. But I think like as far as software goes, like we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like getting things at higher quality, at faster speeds, I think that'll continue to go on. But I think now the shift is going to be from taking the software and moving it into the digital world, as far as like with VR and with like mobile stuff, like you said, with like the Apple Watch, like the fact that you now have it on your wrist. But we've jumped leaps and bounds as far as like all of this stuff goes. Do you remember whenever cell phones did not have YouTube on them?
I remember whenever cell phones were either flip phones or whenever it was revolutionary to have that like keyboard one where it like flipped out and then like you typed on this, like it was weird. That happened for like a couple years, but that was revolutionary because back then people were also still carrying around like the clunky phones, which was kind of funny, but or using home phones, which is kind of just dead. I think you're right though. I think, to be honest, like we've been given a base of like, oh, this would be cool if we had a cell phone that you could carry in your pocket, and that would be so thin and so small, and it could do everything. It could be your multi-tool, and like a search engine that you could just like search anything you wanted to, and have everything, and or like this technology that can like Bluetooth headphones that you can like play without a cord or anything. I think we've been given a base and we've fulfilled that base, but we're still trying to make bigger strides in it when we can only make little leaps. I think for now, like we've been set up with a base of stuff, and it's gonna change a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna change as drastically because most people have already found out everything there is to some stuff. Like you can only put so many cameras on a phone before it's nothing different. So
that's true. Do you think you'll ever go back to making like YouTube videos again?
It's I thought about this the other day, like going, it's just when I'm bored, to be honest. I'll be like, hey, I really want to test out some of this equipment and see how much better I can make than before. Like for a bit there, I was gonna come back. Like I had like 3 videos posted. They were higher quality than the past, but still I wasn't happy with them, so I privated them. Cause I was like, it's really not fun. Cause I can't putting your attention fully into something like that and not seeing the progress. It sucks. Cause that's why I like streaming, because you set up your set however you have it. Like mine, I just set up my desk a little bit and I'm ready to stream. And you stream in front of an audience that would take off quicker and that you can see live before your eyes. And you can see that happening. And you're like, oh, this works a lot better because now I don't have to go through and edit. I don't have to go through and do all of these things that I would have to do if I was making a video just for some, like for like 30 views, 20 views. And that's, I think, what a lot of people have to get over that curb. But I've realized, honestly, YouTube now, so hard. I think it's the hardest. I think it will continue to get harder to get your name out on YouTube because people already have the YouTubers they like, and everything else gets pushed down into the algorithm, and everything else gets pushed down, and you don't really surface, and nobody will see it. So you can, like, I'll find little gems all the time. Like I'll find YouTube videos and YouTube channels that they have put so much effort into it, but it just doesn't pay off because they can't get their name out there.
I find it so weird that we've come to the point now where like nobody thinks that there's extra content to make.
Right.
Like everybody's like you said, satisfied with what they have, and they are more consumer based now. They're like, everybody's thinking, oh, I'm consuming the material I want. Why would I create anything myself? So that's going to get us into a problem where at some point in time, like these YouTubers aren't going to be making videos for too long themselves.
Yeah.
You're going to start seeing catchy. I've already seen it with like 2 of my favorite YouTubers growing up. They're done. They have families to deal with. They're older.
Like, got lots of money.
Yeah, making content every day is not their center focus anymore because they've shifted into the same thing as the consumer. And so now who's going to step in? I don't think anybody. Do you think YouTube's going to ever die down?
I think what's gonna happen is you might so whenever these YouTubers leave, you see people like PewDiePie, the faces of YouTube, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, and Markiplier, faces, or other ones, but those were the faces that really made it. And you see people like there's a guy named Filthy Frank. He used to be huge, but YouTube changed its rules so much where he could not make a dime on YouTube anymore.
Doing Casey Neistat too.
Huh?
Casey Neistat did.
Yeah.
He vlogged every day for like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I checked up on him. It's sad. Cause like you'll see him, they can't make anything anymore, so why do it? So they're like, well, I've had my time. And so Filthy Frank turned into Joji. He started doing music, doing what he liked. And it's amazing. Yeah. He posts, of course, he uses YouTube as one of his platforms, but he's not dependent on it anymore. And it's because YouTube is incredibly unreliable now, and they'll nail you for a lot of stuff. If it's not family friendly, they don't want it. That's like they'll push you down even further. You'll see people like PewDiePie though has like revolutionized on this. He'll like he'll call it. He's starting to call it his fan bases like the 9-year-olds, because he has to be so PG, family friendly. And
oh wow,
yeah, so he'll like use it. He even went back to Minecraft and made a killing because of making fun of like the whole family friendly thing. But eventually it's gonna get too much. I think YouTubers are gonna get too old. Like PewDiePie just got married. He's gonna have kids. He's gonna be 30 soon. He might be even. And it gets to a point where it's going to be too much for him, and he's going to be like, well, I want to see some new faces take over, but the new faces can't surface because people are already all doing the same thing. So you're going to have, I think there's going to be like a dry period of not having anybody. But I think eventually people will be like, oh, this people are going to have to be crazy with their personalities, because if they're not going to surface. You need to like, because they're going to need to stand out.
How much does a lot of this affect you, if at all?
It doesn't, because I've already seen it happen. Like I tried making gaming videos back in the day. That was my thing. Like I tried doing that. That's why I did YouTube. And then I tried to make like film videos, like filmmaking videos. Like I got really inspired by Matt Diavela on a high of him and like filmmakers. And I was like, well, I want to make some videos like that. And I tried it. It's really hard work. So I was like, there's already a lot of competition for this. But with us, we're doing a podcast, and podcasts are killing, and I think they will continue to. We've had this conversation before, like of if podcasts will die, and you made a good point. I don't think they will, because it's like another genre. And if people keep making stuff like ideas like podcasts, then we're gonna have no problem. It's just people are gonna have to really search down deep and find those original ideas, because otherwise they're producing the same. So it's like if we continue to do something different with our podcast, if we continue to do something different, then we'll surface, then we might have a chance, but otherwise we're not gonna. So
yeah. So yeah, I was trying to think of how, like, I am so encaptured by like watching these people, and yeah, like it's going like watching all of these YouTubers and influencers and everything like that. I am going to start making like video production stuff because of that. Like I was inspired. Is that all it was? Did it take years and years and years and years and years, and hours and hours and hours of time on the internet just to give me the idea, oh, I should make training videos for small church? Like that seems like a waste of time to me.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, it's because you think of like whenever you're making a YouTube channel or something like that, and you're making something, you're like, what should I do? And you follow what people have been doing, what the success has been, and nobody thinks I'm gonna branch off, make my own path, and see how good I do. People will follow what succeeds, and not take risks on anything else because they think I probably don't have a better idea. So, like with you making training videos and everything, that's great because there's already demographic. There's already a built-in demographic, small churches or churches that need information like that. There was a demographic for filmmakers, other filmmakers, or other people who are into film. There's like as long as people start branching off, thinking of original ideas and not just doing what everybody else is doing, then we'll start to see some really good content on YouTube. But for now, it's just been the same thing: vlogs, podcasts, gameplay, whatever else, sketches, and TikTok. Go ahead.
Isn't this so funny that the rise of like Peter McKinnon and other like video makers, now YouTube has become a place about making videos. Like the medium itself has become a place where the most popular people and the most content consumed is about making videos.
Yeah, and then they'll make courses like how to succeed on YouTube. Like,
right,
my bro, you're making competition for yourself.
I don't think they are.
Like, well, I mean, honestly, like if you're really being honest and doing what, like posting tutorial videos on what to succeed on YouTube or something like that, then people are gonna obviously watch those videos and want to make YouTube channels, right? Because they paid for the course, they have the course, so might as well use it. And then they're making competition because then there's always going to be somebody better, always going to be somebody bigger who has just flowing ideas, who just wants to pour them into something. And as soon as that comes up, competition. Like, although people are going to be there for your personality and who you are, you're still going to have people who, you know, are going to be better than you. So yeah, that's why I think you're gonna have to be so drastic to get anywhere on YouTube now, because everything's the same.
So this is weird. So YouTube, very high quality. The people who make it are people who are running high quality productions half the time.
Yeah.
People on Twitch, the people who are making it are the people who are running high quality content most of the time. Then you switch to things like TikTok, where the people who stand out are actually people who have the most candid, least thought through material.
And that actually, I was going to try and get into that, like of TikTok, because TikTok is bringing down YouTube a little. Because you have every single thing covered in TikTok. You have every single thing we talked about covered. Filmmakers, podcasters, sketch makers, like comedians, everything. And they can fit it down into a minute videos, 3-minute videos. They started making 3-minute videos a thing, and they want to go like 5-minute. I don't think that should be allowed, because then that just gets into YouTube. Because that's the beauty of TikTok. You can just keep scrolling for hours, and you're just constantly replacing in your brain new content, which is a problem. Just refilling new content over and over again. And you see, like, and you have this much time to be creative, and it's not that hard. Whereas with YouTube, it takes so much more. Hold up.
Have you seen the emergence of podcasts on TikTok?
Yeah. Have you seen the Sync? Like the Sync podcast?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
It's amazing. It's the dude's pretty much started podcasting on TikTok. It's 3 buddies who just go over TikTok beef.
That's so funny.
And TikTok stuff, and it's like they just make really short podcast clips, and they have a channel, but they started on TikTok and do mainly TikTok stuff.
I can't remember what's the name of the podcast where it's 2 guys.
I know who you're talking about, like that one artist guy.
Yeah,
I forgot. Yeah. I don't know. But like stuff like that though, like they can fit a really crazy personality and a really crazy content all into that short of time because it's not as hard.
Filmed on their phone, like they literally have like those two little stupid little microphones, and that's just how they make content.
Oh my goodness! And here's the thing: so with YouTube and Twitch, what people do to stand out is they'll use like better camera quality, better microphone quality, better quality, because that will draw the attention of people, and that's something different. But with TikTok, as you have a phone and everybody else does, you start filming with your phone, everybody's gonna have the same content. Sure, people might bring in like really nice HD cameras and they get recognized a bit more, but everybody's gonna have a camera. Like everybody's gonna have a phone at the same quality, you know? It's nothing different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've seen the emergence of like the new iPhones, like they've come out with better and better like cameras for that purpose, because they're like, oh, we see where this is going. Like it's gonna be run and gun, candid, point and shoot kind of content from here on out. Like we've gotten to a point where the quality is a little too good.
Yeah. Yeah, you like right now, I'm running off of an iPhone 8, my old iPhone 8. It's already 4K, and this is like years ago.
Yeah, and better lighting in your video would look fantastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and this is an iPhone 11. This has twice the cameras, and they're also better capture quality. You got all these different settings that you're not even going to need to buy a very expensive camera to just shoot a video, point and shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's crazy to me. I'm like,
Yeah, we're almost overkill at this point
yeah,
with what we're even doing.
true. Like we're running a small podcast. We got expensive microphones and crap for something like this, but it's
filming turrets.
yeah,
We're literally taking pictures of toilet water.
yeah,
And then putting it on the internet, and that's what we call content.
yep. And the thing is though, like I also want to touch in like, holy cow, where does it stop? We're gonna have it. Our attention spans so short now, and I've realized this. People really need to slow down, because like TikTok has like released something in my brain. It plays with your dopamine and some other stuff, and actual chemicals in your brain. Every time you scroll, every time you see a funny video, you know, it's releasing that, and it's overkill. Whereas YouTube videos, it's a lengthy video, so it takes time, right? Even that was a bit much. But like now we're just constantly getting content in our brains over and over again. And like we're getting overstimulated.
Way too much.
Way too much. And now I have no patience. Like at all. Like I'll sit for a minute. Like I saw a video, like a couple videos about this on TikTok. It was like 1 minute videos. They're like, I challenge you to stay this whole video and just sit and do nothing. And it was genuinely hard for me, because we've just been to a point where we constantly need something in our brains.
So this is coming from an older person. It's making me exhausted.
Yeah.
Like making content, consuming content is exhausting to me anymore. I don't want to do it. Like the more and more I consume, the more and more I just want to find better things to do. Yeah, so which is why I'm here standing in front of a camera making more content. But it on like I'm
This is
reaching
also
a point
something we
where
love.
my patience, yeah, that's true. Where my patience, like you, was wearing thin, but instead of being like, oh, I just need faster content, I'm more like, freaking, I'm out, bro.
Yeah.
Like I need to find something that
Yeah.
I can do better with. So what can that better thing be? For me, for your suggestions, what can that better thing be?
To fill, so making content is not bad, but it also takes just a lot of mental processing, because you're constantly striving to be better.
Yeah.
So what you could do is, I mean, do what everybody else is doing. Literally do like a social media detox. And that's sad. The fact that we have to have a detox from people, are like make movements to delete TikTok and delete Instagram for like a month or a week because they're too addicted. It's a drug, dude. So like putting yourself, like not even if you start not thinking about your phone, not thinking about any of the technology around you, detaching yourself from it, that's where to start. Because whenever you stop doing like the 3 taps, whenever you go somewhere like a grocery store, you know, the 3-tap like phone, wallet, keys. Instead, do wallet, keys, and then go with that.
Because it left the house without your phone recently.
Oh, I've done it before, yeah, because I've realized otherwise I'll be in the car scrolling through TikTok when I could be looking out the window or going to sleep.
Yeah. I'm not going to bring up driving because, well, first of all, you can't drive yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, it gets to the point where I like sometimes I'm watching it like while I'm driving, and I'm like, can I just take 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
after this, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave all of my equipment here. I'm gonna leave my phone here. I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna talk to people. And
Yeah.
I'm starting to sound like a little bit. I'm dipping into boomer territory. Let me bring it back.
Nah, but boomers have a point. That's the thing. Boomers have a
You
point.
said it. Yeah.
Because it's bad.
Mhm.
Like, a lot of there's even boomers who are getting sucked into it too. You seen our mom?
Yeah.
Like she'll be on her phone on Facebook, and like you'll be like sitting at a dinner. I did this whenever I was on the swimming team. We'd go out for lunch or we'd go out for dinner, and we would be sitting at the table. Everybody would be on their phone. I put down my phone. I like look up. I like look around. I'm like, bro, what is going on? I was like, you're over here on Instagram, like scrolling through, and you're not just with some of these people who you might not see for a while. And you could be like having this physical interaction, but rather you would want something more sporadic in your face, like TikTok, you know?
Yeah.
They have a point.
which is why I think we're shifting over to podcasts, because here's the thing, podcasts, you're still connecting with people and you're talking about experiences. And actually podcasting has encouraged me in the past in order to have experiences, because I've heard somebody talking about a certain thing and I'm like, oh crap, I haven't traveled in a while, or oh crap, I should go out and do this thing. So then I go out and do that thing. And then I'm like, do you know what I need to do? I need to make a podcast where I talk to my brother about doing that.
About what I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's constantly on our minds because it's constantly being spat in our face. It's like an annoying cousin who keeps asking you for like if you have games on your phone.
Yeah.
You know, it just won't stop.
Am I going to be one of those? Am I going to be a bad parent if I tell my kids, hey, no social media, no cell phone until you're like in mid high school or something? Like, what do you do with raising children?
Right.
Why am I asking you that? But I don't know.
So from my personal like state, it's always going to be a problem. Like you can delay the inevitable, but that's all you can do. If you tell, like we were told you can't have a phone till you're 16, something like that. You were told 16, 17, something like that. Me and Dano, we're doing so much that mom and dad just gave us a phone and at like 11 or 12, and we've just figured it out since then. And like, I had social media at 12,
Yeah, that's crazy.
which is a problem because social media is not something that you should have at 12. That's something that's the whole world in one little app.
Yeah.
You see all these opinions in one app in your face, and you're like, well, I'm 12, I don't understand this.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, you haven't had to deal with like the backlash of that too much. You've had, I think what you have had is a stage that nobody has been at. No offense. You've been on a stage, first of all, because it's allowed you to watch yourself execute how you are in front of other people, and that's made you aware of how you are in front of other people without people giving you the applause that you may or may not need, or the boos that you may or may not need, because those can have a negative impact on how you do things from here on out. I just saw the FedEx guy. But so maybe I should take, I was going to say, maybe I should take the podcast out and be like, what do you think, FedEx guy?
He's like, no,
But,
I to be.
But unfortunately, that's not how everybody is. Like there are people who are doing really well at a very young age, and they have an audience, and they're constantly on. Like everywhere they go, they have to be thinking about how that is. They can't just live.
This gets me onto stuff like there was this kid, a toy reviewer that his parents set up for him. It was a YouTube channel where it was just It was small. It was like Ryan something, Ryan World.
Yeah.
And he just reviewed toys. Massive following. He got like 10
Yes.
mils. Massive. He's now on products.
Yes.
The kid grew up in front of a camera whenever he was 4. His whole life has been in front of a camera, seeing these comments like, you did bad. I hated that video. Or you did good. Good job. And he's had to change his personality because of it. That's crazy. Like,
That is. And his lifestyle.
yeah, like that's one thing on this. Like, we have been homeschooled, we have been cyber schooled, so there's been a separation. We've had social media, but honestly, like for them, they get social media and they have their friends from school that they see every single day. They have their friends from school, and they see them like face to face. If they didn't like it, they're self-conscious. Like if like their friends will come up and be like, "I saw your post. That was cringe, bro." And then you feel bad, and then you start to like. That's what I started doing. It was horrible. On the swim team, I started to like we were. It was one of the dinner things again. We were at dinner, and they found my Instagram, which I was fine to give out. And they found my Instagram, and they were like giggling at it, and I was like, "What's going on?" And like some of the guys were just like, "Don't worry about them, man." But like I kept like the whole swim team would come up to me and be like, talk about something about like a couple of the pictures. I had my ex or something, and I just didn't delete it. But like I then I started like internally I got self-conscious. I was like, well, maybe I'm gonna delete, and I'm gonna like, I changed my description because they said it was cringe, and I said I was like, and then I started recognizing that. I started calling myself out on that. I was like, no, why are you changing something about you because somebody else doesn't like it?
And you know what? Ever since then, I definitely have seen, like, kudos to you, because I think you've been a good example of coming on the other side of that. Like, you don't really care too much anymore about people's perception
Yeah.
of what you do, which is good, and I'm glad that you're aware of that.
I still got problems with it though.
Oh yeah, I think even whenever we think we've completely gotten over it, compared to, like, you compare that to people who grew up without the internet at all, like what
This is sad.
why?
I never thought I'd stoop to this level. I'm wearing a champion hoodie. A champion hoodie. Guess who? Because of the approval of people. I'll like go out. I'll be looking at my like right now, like skinny jeans fell out of like, guess like the fashion. It's still a thing. It's just our Gen Z is a little bit picky about it, trying to find their own thing, which is dumb. I used to get judged for, like, I've talked about this before. I got judged because I wasn't wearing joggers. And I'm like, if I go out in public like this now, like, champion hoodie, man, people are going to recognize that. I'm just going to blend in. You're not built to blend in, homie. Right? Like, you shouldn't be seeking the approval of people. You should be wearing what makes you happy. And right now I'm cold, so I'm wearing this hoodie. But I'm still gonna wear my skinny jeans. I'm still gonna wear my flannels because that's what I like wearing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
so.
man.
Go ahead.
Thank you for helping me get through my existential crisis.
Yeah, like who cares about what it like? If somebody comes up to you and just doesn't like your fashion sense, you go boo-hoo. Like, okay, like I'm not wearing it for your approval. I'm not wearing it because you want me to or don't want me to. I'm wearing it because I want to. I'm wearing it because I woke up and I chose to.
As a leaving question,
Mm-hmm.
as a closing question, in what ways do you think growing up with a YouTube channel and growing up with like with content, with constantly having content be on the brain, how do you think that has affected you up until this point?
I love. It's been a bad and a good thing. A bad thing because you constantly have that thought in mind of like, you got to be this big personality, or you got to be this big, like I want to be big on YouTube or something, or my social media, like my followers matter. I've never looked at my followers and cared because I know that would just have a negative impact on me if I did. Um, but seeking like one problem that our generation has that I have like tried my best to stay away from is validation from stuff like that. Um, in terms of YouTube, whenever I was younger, I thought it was like bullying-ish because Daniel and then our friend Zach would come up to be like, "Hey, that video was cringe," but I've also like I didn't really need that input because it's cool to learn by trial of error, because now over time I see myself grow from that, and I see myself be like, "Ooh, like I can do that myself now." I can be older and I can be like, "Ooh, that was like it was cute." Because I was like younger. I was like, oh, whatever. It happened to me.
Yeah.
And I grew from it. And then I started making more videos. And then, kind of cringe. I grew from that. So it's like a thing of like, it's cool to see your memories, though, to see who you are playing out, like unraveling. I thought that was cool. But what about you?
Yeah. I think the biggest positive it has given me a lot of knowledge and tools for something that I'm passionate about that I'm going to be able to use for the rest of my life. The negative side, I think it's been a colossal waste of time. and up until this point, I still continue to do this, and let me know if you do this as well. I have done a lot of research, and I've taken like even courses online on like lighting and a lot of video production stuff, but I still choose to watch it anyways, knowing all of the information and looking at the title of a video and being like, I know exactly what they're going to say even before I go into this video, but I'm still going to watch that. And it is a tremendous waste of time, especially with YouTube videos being like 13 minutes long. And then by the time I look up, it's like I've wasted 3 hours of my day, 3, 4, 5 hours of my day on watching content that I already know.
Yeah, like I thought about that last like 2 nights ago or something.
Yeah.
I was like sitting in my bed, those late night like contemplation things.
Oh yeah.
I was sitting there, I was trying to fall to sleep, and I was like, it's July. I was like, it is halfway through the summer, and all I've been doing is working and watching YouTube, playing games, and maybe a tad bit of hanging out. I can do that whenever I'm in school.
Yeah.
Like this summer, like I thought about like seriously, like dropping everything on the computer for the summer, because otherwise I feel like I'm wasting it. It's going so much quicker than I thought. But I'm gonna talk to you viewers for a second. If you're the better 10% of people, if you stuck around for this, because this is 45 minutes that my brain would not be able to take in, and I would probably not pay attention. I'd probably click off by now too. But I congratulate you if you stuck around. So
yeah, thanks.
Round of applause. Thank you.
Our faithful listeners. What's crazy is adults are like really the only ones who ever listen this long in podcasts typically, even though we're kind of catering this to a younger audience a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad mistake on our part, but that's fine.
You got demographics for different things. Like, I mean, I personally know a lot of people who would just put it on a separate monitor and play a game, because you can't just sit in front of a video or something like that. I mean, this is like one of our first. Is it our first video podcast we've done? Yeah.
This is the first podcast we've ever done with video also incorporated.
I think this is gonna maybe have a better effect because we have our video and there's something to look at. But otherwise, you're gonna want to fill it with something else.
That's a good point.
But this is new. I like this. I really like this whole setup. This is nice. We should do this more.
I mean, we'll get better at it over time.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening to us talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. We're two white men.
Stepping on landmines of cringe, as always.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.